Good morning, everyone. Call the meeting to order, but before we call for roll this morning, Becky, I want to, first of all, the board to acknowledge the tragedy that occurred yesterday at the Starts Right Here school. First and foremost, please take a moment of silence to join families and friends and staff in grieving the loss of 2 young lives. Thank you. This tragedy is unfathomable, especially in the light of the mission that Will Keeps has there at the school to provide important programs and mentorship to at-risk youth in our community. We've seen this type of activity unfold countless times across the country, and this could happen at any school in our community. It's yet one more tragedy at the hands of gun violence. Thank you to the Des Moines Police Department and all the agencies who were on site to support this response and quickly bring the suspects into custody. Thoughts and prayers will not bring back the 2 lives that our community lost, and they will not prevent it from happening again. I hope that we hold on to this grief and this anger and find a way to come together to stop these tragedies from happening to families. It could be any one of us who has to endure something this horrific. If any community can come together to solve a problem, it's ours. I can tell you that. I know that all of our board members have been to the school on multiple occasions, have met with Will Keeps on multiple occasions, support his mission. We have supported some pretty significant infrastructure improvements at the school, and we support them 100%. We're going to be there for them to try to get them back to doing the things that they do best, which is help at-risk youth in this community. So thank you. Roll call, Becky.
McCoy.
Here.
Brownell.
Here.
Conley.
Here.
Edward.
Here.
Here. Counselor?
Supervisor Conley, this is Ralph Marasco. Can you hear me?
I can.
We can hear you. Do the present circumstances make it impossible or impractical for you to appear personally today?
Yes.
Please let the record reflect that Supervisor Conley is participating electronically pursuant to Iowa Code Section 21.8.
Thank you. Action on this previous meeting?
I'll move those.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy.
Yes.
Brownell.
Yes.
Conley.
Yes.
Van Ort.
Yes.
Hawkinsmith.
Yes. Any special claims?
None.
Action on the bill list is submitted by the county auditor. Roll call?
McCoy.
Yes.
Brownell.
Yes.
Conley.
Yes.
Van Ort.
Yes.
Hawkinsmith.
Yes. Number 5, public hearing, Becky?
Number 5, resolution approving agreement for the assignment of tax sale certificates to Habitat for Humanity for 31 properties.
Is proof publication on file?
Yes.
Is anyone here to speak for or against? Anyone here to speak for or against? Seeing none, close the hearing. Bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy.
Yes.
Brownell.
Yes.
Conley.
Yes.
Van Ort.
Yes.
Hawkinsmith.
Yes. Item number 6 is the second reading of an ordinance. We've had a board staff discussion about this, and then we've had our public hearing on this. I can just tell you that normally we don't allow public comments during the second and third reading of ordinances. Those things usually take place during the public hearing process, which we've already had. But in light of the interest in this specific rezoning, we're going to allow comments from folks this morning before we go through the second reading. I also want to hear from our staff about some of the discussions they've had with the property owner about limitations that would be on the project if the rezoning, in fact, is passed. So I guess I would open it up, Brett first to comment on the restrictions.
Brett Vanderman, Public Works. So at the direction of the board last week or 2 weeks ago at the public hearing, we accepted the conditions that were submitted by the applicant and took those and went over them, and we created conditions of rezoning to basically put forth a list of uses that were permitted. So if it's not on the list of permitted or conditionally permitted uses, it's not allowed on that property. And so just to briefly go over that list, it includes agricultural uses, which would be farms, forestry, and outdoor nurseries, which outdoor nurseries are specific to wholesale production, not for general retail sales. No residential uses, Institutional uses would be indoor and outdoor institutional, and that would be like conference center, rec center, golf course, recreation complex, things like that. Institutional residential for 1 to 8 residents, which would be for like a nursing home or assisted living on a very small scale. Public service, which would be like for emergency services station or electric substation, the things that fall within the public services uses. Group homes, as identified by state code, are permitted in any district and allowed, so that added into this as well. Commercial uses would include office, which is the principal use that's requested by the applicant. Indoor commercial amusement, which would be specifically restricted to a banquet facility for the facility that already exists on the property. And then the following would be allowed by conditional use permit. That would be indoor nurseries, which is wholesale production for indoor nurseries. Institutional residential for more than 8 residences. So again, those assisted living nursing home type facilities at more than 8 residents. Ag tourism, which was the previous use of this property as a pumpkin farm and corn maze. Ag support, which would be like seed corn sales, equipment sales, ag-related type uses.
Those would take a conditional use permit to
That's
board
correct.
adjustment?
Correct.
Okay.
And then communication towers, special events, which would be outdoor concert, carnival, circus, those type things, and then wind energy systems. So all of those last 6 or 8 would all be conditional use permit, which would require approval, notification of adjacent property owners, and approval by the Board of Adjustment through public hearing.
Okay.
Brett, those conditional use permits that you read off, are those allowed currently out there when they take a?
So within the mixed-use district, which is the request for this, I guess that those are all conditionally permitted within the mixed-use district. So the challenge or issue we have is without changing our ordinance, we can't make uses that are currently conditionally permitted and just allow them by right. So that's why these are included as conditional use permits, because that's how they are currently set up in the zoning ordinance
But would they be
table
able
of uses.
to practice those conditions currently? without
Some of
using
them, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Angela had an idea that maybe a pilot was a good idea, payment limit taxes. I realize that's not part of your piece. I thought that was a credible idea. That's something I think we need to talk over with the county attorney, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if, I've not had any conversations about that piece.
Right, okay.
As I understand it, Bob, we, legally, we can't, do that.
Well, I think they can voluntarily do it, can't they?
I don't know, you have to talk to Ralph about it.
I think that requires, it's required to be used with federal monies. I don't think this would qualify.
Okay.
Okay.
So just to further this one more point, the applicant and staff worked, once they provided the list and you guys directed us to do that, we worked together and they've agreed to this and signed the conditions of rezoning that would get recorded with the ordinance if it's approved.
Well, I think how we left it after the public hearing and the first reading, knowing that we have 2 more readings, this being the second, that we would ask staff to sit down and work with property owner about this rezoning, and we would talk about it again, which we've done. But I'd allow this time for people, if you want to come up and make comments either for or against it, just be brief and understand that we've heard a lot of the different positions for and against, and just try not to be repetitive if you can, but just state your name and address for the record and listen.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Bill Ludwig, architect, urban planner, 939 Office Park Road in West Des Moines. Just wanted to address the board. We're basically committed to our master plan as we submit it, and we've basically worked with staff on those conditions, and both the Geislers and the farm lady are in agreement with those.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Good morning, Tiffany Birkenes, 6500 AP2 Parkway, West Des Moines. I'm going to actually read a statement that's, I guess, a perspective that you have not heard. Good morning, my name is Tiffany Birkenes, and I came to your last meeting for the MLK proclamation, but in listening to other portions of the meeting, I became aware of the zoning map amendment that discussed approving a large amount of land for commercial use by the Family Leader Foundation. Upon researching this organization, I felt compelled to express my concerns as an ally, educator, and simply as a human being who genuinely cares for the safety, rights, and well-being of all people. I do not live near this area, but my brother, sister-in-law, and nieces are residents of Bondurant, and there is potential of this development being visited by not only folks from across the metro, but beyond. So in honor of Dr. MLK's quote, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter," I stand before you today. Although this probably won't impact your decision, it takes those of us who hold privilege to speak up more when we hear or see words or actions that represent and perpetuate injustice, inequity, or discrimination. Ally is a verb. The Family Leader Foundation is one that is openly and actively homophobic and transphobic. This was further evident during my conversation with them after your last meeting and the several instances of hateful anti-LGBTQ rhetoric over the years by their president and CEO, Bob Vanderplatz. For example, saying, "Get this trash out of your schools," regarding a memoir of a genderqueer youth, another time implying that being gay is a public health risk, hosting anti-gay marriage rallies, and sponsoring a conference here in Des Moines organized by someone who justified the execution of LGBTQ people. The new commercial land that would potentially be approved via an amendment to a comprehensive plan that originally would oppose it would be 20 acres of land that would not be a welcoming space for a large number of people and further give this dangerous organization power. The Iowa Youth Survey administered to 6th, 8th, and 11th graders reported that 55% of youth who identified as LGBTQ+ considered suicide in 2021. That is heartbreaking in itself, but is also 10% higher than the Trevor Project's national survey results. LGBTQ+ youth are disproportionately at a higher risk of depression, anxiety, suicide, and experiencing homelessness because they are bullied daily, not only by peers, but adults who are supposed to love and protect them, such as schools, churches, parents, and even more so lately, elected public leaders at all levels proposing legislation and making decisions that dehumanize and oppress them and threaten to take away their civil and human rights. How would a child view this? For some perspective, I'm confident that the Family Leader Foundation, all of you, would be vehemently opposed to supporting an organization or policy that was unwelcome to white people. I ask that moving forward, being elected to serve all residents of Polk County, you very carefully research and consider all factors in the decisions you make so that you don't support policies, practices, and beliefs that continue to harm your fellow friends, family, neighbors, children, and colleagues. For all listening, it takes a village to create and foster inclusive, safe, and affirming communities. I'll close with another Dr. MLK quote and Bible verse. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Jesus and Christ Jesus. Galatians 3:28. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Teresa Colson. I live at 8592 Northeast 56th Street in Bondurant. I am a mile and within a sight line of the Geisler property. And thank you for allowing comments on our second reading today. I do have a couple concerns I want to review from the last Board of Supervisors meeting that we held 2 weeks ago regarding communication, spot rezoning, agricultural, and the optics of it. One is communication. In our current times of so many forms of communication, this rezoning was communicated to a small number of neighbors, inviting them to a neighborhood meeting to learn about the project and sign a letter of support. This presents two challenges. One, it's a small number of people, 12, that were notified by letter and in the mail. Two, if you did oppose the project, how do you oppose it? So today I submit to you 23 additional opposition letters that I acknowledge, and I acknowledge there's other opposition letters and emails that have been sent to the Board of Supervisors. Two is the spot rezoning. A pivotal discussion began this turn of events. Geisler's retirement. First, congrats to the Geislers on their retirement. You've earned this retirement. They built a business starting prior to the Polk County adoption of the agritourism standards, and the Polk County Board of Adjustments approved this conditional use to continue their business. The event space was used as an accessory to the agribusiness operation. At the prior meeting, when we were here 2 weeks ago, it was stated this is a unique situation with existing buildings and the Geislers wanting to retire, and this is an opportunity for the Geislers to retire. I agree, it is a unique situation, and it does have usable buildings, but I wonder why the responsibility lies to find the Geislers their retirement package. I do believe there are other potential uses of this building, and there have been and I have not seen other opportunities to seek other interested parties under the agricultural use. Third, the agricultural use. We must safeguard our land that grows our food. Polk County has some of the most fertile black soil that I refer to as black gold. The American Farmland Trust published a report of Farms Under Threat 2040, Choosing the Abundant Future. The Farms Under Threat research has shown that Americans are paving over agricultural land at a rapid pace. This report notes that under the current trend, Iowans will pave over and fragment 183,000 acres of farmland by 2040, with a loss of $144 million in farm output. The hardest hit counties, you ask? Polk, Lynn, and Dallas counties. The Farms Under Threat report suggests every American can help by building better compact cities and having land use planners band together and with farmers and concerned citizens. So let's preserve the best agricultural soils for future production. Fourth is the optics. The proposed plan by the family leader includes a new building built to look like a farmstead, including a silo. I appreciate the optics of the building and the silo to look like a farm, but it will indeed have a commercial look with the buildings, paved parking lots for 150 cars, amphitheater, fencing, walking paths, and communication towers. On my drive here today, I drove by the Fleet Farm, and they too have a silo, but I didn't think for a minute that it was a family farm. Conditions of rezoning were made available yesterday. However, the conditions listed of the indoor-outdoor institutional use of land and buildings by definition seem to leave a broad range of listed use, including schools, places of worship, amphitheater, and indoor recreational facilities. Other conditional use permits listed include communication towers and wind energy systems. I'm not sure when that came up. The only change is that changes the look of the agricultural landscape, and there is emerging research regarding health concerns of humans that live within 1 to 1.5 miles of wind turbines. The proposed buyer is a nonprofit 501c3 organization and therefore does not pay property taxes. Discussion regarding the pilot or the payment in lieu of taxes was suggested and sounds like that's been researched. But again, our local schools and our local services are already stretched and will lose out again without property tax dollars. In conclusion, regardless of the conditions placed on the rezoning, there is no public benefit to this rezoning. The Board of Supervisors mission statement listed on your website. Polk County exists to serve the public. We are committed to service excellence, fiscal responsibility, and enhancing the quality of life. We will be the most effective, productive, and responsive local government in Iowa. So I leave you today with an additional statement from your website. We serve a diverse central Iowa community. Polk County is among the nation's most innovative public institutions. We bring together creative leaders, collaborative organizations, and key resources to empower our communities and make life better for all people in Polk County. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning. My name is Brad Colson. I live at 8592 Northeast 56th Street, Bondurant. Thank you for this second opportunity to speak with you all. And first of all, I'd like to say that I agree with everything that young lady said there earlier. In order to support this rezoning reclassification from ag to mixed-use commercial, one must disregard many things. Disregard the Polk County Planning and Zoning recommendation for denial of the rezoning request. Disregard the many letters and emails of protest. And according to the Polk County Planning and Zoning, one must disregard the public health, safety, and welfare of the county residents. Disregard commercial development incompatible with surrounding land use. Disregard the safety of firefighters and first responders due to insufficient water volume and pressure. Disregard our schools and teachers who will lose needed tax revenue at a time when public tax dollars are being diverted to private schools. Disregard 21 acres of land being removed from the tax rolls, not for a temporary tax abatement, mind you, but for as long as the family leader owns the ground. An organization that reports an annual income of $2.7 million while the property taxes of the surrounding residents continue to rise. Let's think about that for just a second. An organization that generates over $2.5 million annually, contributing absolutely $0 to local schools, while at the same time jeopardizing the health, safety, and welfare of the county residents and putting first responders and firefighters' lives at risk, while occupying 21 acres of tax-free land for the foreseeable future. That's a lot to disregard. The Polk County Planning and Zoning said in its November report that, and I quote, "The request is not in harmony with the spirit, intent, goals, and policies of the 2050 Comprehensive Plan." End quote. This spot zoning and leapfrog development couldn't be more at odds with the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, a plan that was well thought out, given much consideration, and approved by this board only 5 months ago. This comprehensive plan, not unlike our U.S. Constitution, should be a durable foundation with substance and backbone, for if it can be easily cast aside to benefit two parties at the expense of the county residents, it might as well not be entered into at all. There are many possible uses for this property that would benefit the Geislers and the county residents. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name's Sandra Feldstein. I live at 9095 Northeast 72nd Street. I am directly north of the high school. If you're familiar with Bondurant, I am exactly 3 miles straight east of the Geisler property. There are no houses in between me and the Geisler property. I had no idea that this was happening because I'm not within 500 feet. Nobody is within 500 feet. For 3 miles, I am the closest house to the Geisler property for 3 miles to the east. Had the Des Moines Register not put a story in the paper about it, I would have had no idea this was going on. You need a better way to identify impacted neighbors for things like this. That's the first point I'd like to make. Second point I'd like to make, I own a business also, an ag business, about 2 miles north of the Geisler property, so I have a little bit of familiarity with the zoning and ordinance process. So the first thing I did was look up the zoning ordinance, which would govern this. And I started reading, and I couldn't even make it past the first paragraph. First thing it says is establish a rational pattern of land use, encouraging the most appropriate use of individual pieces of land throughout the county. This is not rational to change from agritourism. That was very rational. The Geisler Farms has been there a long time. My 4-H club has been there. We used to go do the corn maze. I've been to wedding receptions there. I've been to weddings, outdoor weddings. I've been to graduation parties. They've got 2 buildings that blend in very nicely to the local landscape because they look like farm buildings. The corn maze, of course, doesn't look, the pumpkin patch. It all blends in very nicely. The proposed use of the land, none of that belongs visually or in any other way surrounded by prime farmland. Taking it out of production, taking it off the tax rolls, it's already been mentioned. You really ought to give more consideration to that. The second paragraph in your own ordinance, divide the unincorporated area of the county into districts of distinct community character. What's already there, as I said, fits in very nicely. A corn maze, a pumpkin patch, kids out there riding on their, they've made slides out of tractors. They've used a corn bin to make a bouncy house out of it. It all fits in very nicely into the local neighborhood. Paving all that land putting up movie theaters, putting up an amphitheater, putting up permanent outdoor lighting because it would be there. None of that fits when it's surrounded by cornfields. Regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings. There are already buildings there. There should not be any more added. It fits what is already the neighborhood. Regulate the bulk, scale, and density of new and existing structures. Again, if you let this go through, as your own zoning people have said you should not let it go through, you've violated everything in your own ordinance, you're just ignoring it. Why bother to have a zoning ordinance if you're just going to ignore it whenever you feel like it? And one last thing, the woman who spoke earlier, I like her t-shirt. This is not a nice organization that you want to have come in here. They're not nice people. They're fine if you happen to agree with them. Lots of people don't agree with them, and they're really mean to the people that they don't agree with. I don't want them in my neighborhood, and they are my neighborhood. I'm 3 miles away, but in a rural area, that's my neighborhood, and I don't want them there, and you have no business doing this essentially in the dark. No one knew this was happening. The property never went on public market. It was denied by your own zoning staff and your own zoning board, and there is no good reason for you to accept this request.
Good morning, Glenn Hansen. I live at 117 5th Street Northeast in Bondurant. Been in the community 17 years. I'm a farm boy from Webster County. And in the papers and stuff, when they say the pastor, I'm the pastor, okay? And I'm a pastor of the community, and the church is a non-denominational church, and how this came to be, a lot of times there's people saying things, and I don't think they know truth, so I'm gonna speak truth. If you've been to Gessler Farm, you could do weddings. So I did a lot of outdoor weddings, and they've said like different graduation receptions, things that way. My prayer, I've been in the community, I always joke people, I wanted to build a church in Bondurant, and I had the zeros, I just didn't have the digit to put in front of it, and it's very expensive in there. And so, just tongue in cheek, and I was praying that God at the right time would give an opportunity. So the opportunity for people that don't know, Gessler's contacted me because that was a prayer. What you don't know is I used to work at WHO, and Paul Harvey would say the rest of the story, but Daryl's dad wanted a church on that property. What you don't know is planning and zoning. When they voted against it, Penny Carroll said, this would be perfect for church. So I thought, well, that's good. But anyhow, what I did is I put them together because there could be breweries there could be all sorts of things. But I thought, well, let's don't take it out of production because I'm a farmer too. There's nothing going to be taken. It's not like they're going to put Facebook or Microsoft. It's got the parking, there's 153 spots, but that's paid, but that's good so you don't have dust, quite frankly. But it's professional landscaper and things that way. But I put the two together and they said, well, we don't want to do what they're thinking they're going to do with all this bed and breakfast and things that way. I just want to worship, and if you've been there, I think all the supervisors have been there. If you go to the barn, they already bought pews for us and the upstairs. And I thought, man, if I just got the barn, I'll just redo that. But for ministries, it's for everybody. So I said, well, it's limited. It's for everybody. If somebody wants to come out there and do whatever, we can figure that out. It's sort of like you're building the bridge as you're walking on it. I don't know what the future holds. I might be dead tomorrow. I don't know. But I just want to thank you for listening. But sometimes people get so worked up, and the idea of saying people, that upset me when you say that family leader's hateful. That hurts me. Because when somebody, because you're saying, well, they don't agree with me, we're called to love each other, amen? I won't preach. But the idea when somebody point blank, so if somebody disagrees with somebody, Pepsi or Coke, let's get along, can I get you a drink, amen? And that's sort of where I'm at. So I just wanted to say thank you for listening. And if somebody has a question, there are two sides to every coin, but this is, if the evil one to put this together, it wasn't to put Microsoft or Facebook, it was just wanted to put a church here and keep green space. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning. My name is Angie Elrod. My address is 4944 Northeast 94th Avenue in Bondurant. And we're actually right across the road from Geisler's. And we support the project and everything, and we think it's a beautiful plan that's proposed, and that we would see that across the road from us. We think it's the perfect use of, we've enjoyed having Geisler's as our neighbors now. We've lived there 21 years, and we love all the family atmosphere and everything, and the families, we can hear them at our house laughing and having a great time over there. So we're gonna miss that, but instead now we're gonna have the same, it'll be a far less amount of people that'll be there, but we do feel that this organization does love everyone the same, and we support that vision. We love all of our neighbors, but we think it's a beautiful plan. And I didn't write anything elaborate, but that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Supervisors, Chairman Hawkinsmith, thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and I really appreciate that. After the first reading during the last meeting, I was taken aback by the vote allowing the spot rezoning, especially coming after professionally trained planning staff recommended denial, and the Zoning Commission voted to deny the application in November 2022. The 2050 Polk County Comprehensive Plan took 2 years to make and hundreds of thousands of dollars. The firm Confluence was hired by the county at an expense of public funds of $192,000. County staff in Confluence took part in building a comprehensive plan website, then conducted many meetings engaging citizens, businesses, and large property owners. The county further conducted meetings with all the cities within the county, including Ankeny, Bondurant, and Elkhart, which surrounds this area. This area was determined to be and indicated in the plan to remain agricultural until 2050 unless another city annexed the area. During the last meeting, Supervisor Van Oort stated that comprehensive plans are not written in stone. Sir, I agree. However, this plan was only adopted less than 6 months ago in August of 2022. Nothing in this area has dramatically changed. There has not been a community need or a public outcry for a special interest lobbying firm or nonprofit to be placed in the middle of farming operations. This spot zoning does not provide or fill any need or add good to the general area for the citizens of Polk County. There is no public benefit from this spot rezoning. It was indicated in the last meeting there was support for the family leader at the zoning meeting and a few of the neighbors, which we see today. I would agree, 12 or 24 people that are not with the family leader support this spot rezoning. Today, I would like to present results from an online petition that accumulated 187 signatures opposing this spot rezoning. I've already handed in the original. I also submit 136 letters signed by citizens of Polk County in opposition to this spot rezoning. Some of the people who signed these letters include area farmers, business owners, current and past elected officials, including a former Bondurant mayor, and people who are working who could not attend this meeting today. Pastor Glenn, I appreciate his words. Going to the family leader's website and looking at the mission statement of the Board of Supervisors serving all people. I wasn't going to bring this up. One of the things the family leader has is they are against marriage equality. I highly doubt they would let a gay couple get married in their event center. Highly doubt it. Further, they address policies and routinely lobby for laws that restrict other people and do not include all. I implore you today to please deny this rezone. Thank you again for allowing me to speak in your time. Thanks so much for serving all the public, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you to the board for allowing us to present. And Chairman Hawkinsmith, really appreciate your remarks up front about the Start Right Here organization. Will Keeps is a friend, and we've worked with them very closely. I want to thank you guys and the Planning and Zoning staff, Planning and Zoning Commission, for the ability to listen, the ability to work with, the ability to come up with a solution. Really want to thank the supervisors who took the time to come out to the property to see what is the vision, what would we use this for. As I told you then, I'll tell you now, it was not the family leader's plan or intent to go out to a farm in Polk County to expand our ministry or to find more offices for our ministry. It was when Glenn Hansen, the pastor who just spoke, said, I want to introduce you guys to the Geislers. And we went out there, we looked and we saw a vision right away. We said, this could be the best of Iowa, the best of family, the best of faith, the best of a farm, and a great use of a property that I think we all could be proud of. And so we walked slowly, and the Geislers walked with us slowly to see, would this make a lot of sense? And all the people we brought out there said it makes a ton of sense. Everybody that we have brought out, matter of fact, the neighbors that we were required to contact, we contacted, overwhelming support in regards to what could happen here. I'm a farm kid. My wife Darla and her family, they still have a lot of farm interest in egg ground up in Northwest Iowa. Some of the best farm in the world, just like out by where this planned site is. We don't want to take land out of production, nor will we take land out of production. The spot rezoning, I fully get that as well. It's about communities growing out inside out. But 17 years ago, there was a good faith commitment made with the Geislers about developing infrastructure to handle these other types of things, and now they're at a point of retirement. And I believe a Planning and Zoning Commissioner, Penny Carroll, made a great comment, a great question. If we don't allow something like this to happen, what do you allow this property to be used for? Because it's not going to go back to row crop. And so she was saying this makes perfect sense. And maybe by the letter of the law, no, but that happened 17 years ago, so we walked with good faith with the Geislers. And probably just two other things. My relationship with Donna Red Wing is highly noted, it's highly publicized. She was the head of One Iowa, Iowa's largest LGBTQ plus organization. She and I had plenty of coffees. Matter of fact, we developed an enduring friendship, and we agreed to disagree on some issues. But we had such a relationship that after she passed away, she asked me to give the eulogy at her funeral. And it was about loving your neighbor as yourself. And it's not about hating those who disagree with you. That's not it. Our mission statement and vision is to honor God in everything we do and to bless others. And that would be our goal with this property, is that we'd be a blessing in the neighborhood, we'd be a blessing to neighbors, and we would work with the neighbors to make sure that this property is enhanced and in no way is it taken away. So what I want to say to you as the president and CEO of the family leader is that you have my commitment that we will do just that. And we just want to thank you for your openness and willingness. I believe this is how this process is supposed to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I think I mentioned during the public hearing a few weeks ago that, and I'm not saying, 100% of the time, but the biggest majority of the time, historically, since I've been here anyway, we've given a lot of latitude and flexibility to the supervisor that represents the district that's being or could be impacted. And it was in Supervisor Van Ort's district before January 1, and now it's Supervisor Brownell's district. I'm going to let them make some comments, and then any of the rest of the board who wants to make comments. But first of all, I want to just touch just briefly on the family leader being the applicant or the family leader being the new owner. Look, politically, I wouldn't be on the same page. I mean, I promise you, I'm not on their Christmas card list, okay? So what I would say is, though, that as elected officials, that can't be a consideration. That shouldn't be a consideration of our board, of what their political position is when you're looking at a rezoning issue. It just shouldn't. I'm not considering that piece of it. But the spot zoning issue is problematic. I think those points are well made. I am really involved in the comprehensive land use process, and I have been. I served on the committee for the confluence plan that they did. So, you know, the thing I would say about Polk County in general, you have to take this one rezoning off the table for just a second. And what we've done since we started, in our comprehensive land use plan back in, what is it, 06 or 08, Brett, and then again now. Back then, we actively started identifying ground as ag transition, so it would be preserved as agriculture. Before, it was not. Their ordinances allowed for residential subdivisions without infrastructure. The planning process just was not an organized process at all compared to what we have now. So, you know, we do value that, but once again, I'm gonna allow the supervisor that represents this area. I know he's taken a lot of the calls and responded to a lot of the emails, and any of the rest of the board members who wanna speak to this. So,
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate the comments, and I agree with Tom, a lot of points very well made. My general philosophy on these kinds of things is property owner gets to do what they want with their property. They own it, they get to do what they want within reason. That goes for pipelines or it goes for minor rezonings like this. So the Geislers have a stake in this because they actually own the property and they control it. There's been a lot said about family leader and so forth. I have a feeling that if another different applicant was in here, a nonprofit like Des Moines Area Religious Council, DMARC, probably the attitude would be much different about this, but it's not. And as Tom says, this is a slippery slope you get on when you start dealing with people's beliefs and political positions when it comes to rezonings and things like that. Slippery slope for local governments, state governments alike. Been a lot of talk about the planning and zoning and comp plan and all that, and I agree with that. I think there's a great deal of respect and love for our planning and zoning folks and comp plan people as well. Many times people go to planning and zoning, get turned down, and that's the end of it. We don't hear about it again. Other times they want to bring it to the Board of Supervisors, which they have the right to do because planning and zoning is a recommending body, as you all know. Board of Supervisors is a policy-making body, so they can come here and they can apply. Many times that doesn't go anywhere also. But what does happen in the interim period is many times that what the issues that planning and zoning might have found with a particular applicant can get resolved between that time and the time they come before the Board of Supervisors. I think this is the case here in many cases, not totally, but in many cases. Same thing with the comp plan. I think the guidance that the comp plan gave us is that the agricultural look should remain out there, and I think it does. If this was a office building or a warehouse like exists in many of the cities I represent, Urbandale or Johnston, for example, I wouldn't be for it because it would be completely out of character. But this is within character of the area, I believe. So, and I do want to comment on the property tax issue that's been brought up a couple of times. Of course, this is ag land right now, and so the property tax allocations coming out of that particular piece of land aren't great at this point anyway. But if we were to look at a pilot program, and I want to come back to that in a minute, probably what would come out of that would be greater than what comes out of that land currently. So, but I'm confused that we aren't, I want to continue to look at this, I guess I should say, because I'm confused that I know we have a lot of nonprofits that do a pilot right now, and they have various ways of doing it. They can be just fire and rescue, it can be the whole property tax bill, it could be everything. We've got several nonprofits that do that, and so I want to continue to explore that because I still think it's a good idea and one that has some merit. I think there's some merit to that, so I want to continue to explore that. But I believe that based on the restrictions that we're allowing here and the ability for the Board of Adjustment to have some say over conditional uses in the future, I'm so supportive of the rezoning. Thanks, Tom.
Anyone else?
I'd like to make a few comments, and those that have spoken, and Tom, thank you for allowing some conversation. Thank you very much for speaking and sharing your opinions. I didn't expect a preacher to come and preach, but thank you. This has been a heavy one for me. Probably in all the decisions I've made in the 20 years that I've been an elected official, it's been a tough one because we're pitting who the property could be sold to. We're looking at who that organization is and whether I agree with what they do or disagree. The Geislers have the right to sell it to who they want to sell it to. We cannot control who they sell it to. And I know there's heads shaking and saying they disagree with what I'm saying, but I've researched that, and I can't tell the Geislers, you cannot sell it to that kind of an organization. So I have to take that out of my decision. And I do repeat again that this is a unique property. This 20 acres, I feel, is very unique in what the use could be. I have a friend who is and I've lived in Ankeny and lived in the area for 55 years. Graduated from high school in Ankeny, so I know the area well. And there was a time, and I know the Geislers know this, that my friend is a historian of the area, and there was conversations maybe 20, 25 years ago about tearing that beautiful barn down and putting up hog confinement. Would you like hog confinement? But it was interesting for me to think about, okay, what else could it be used for, and keeping it ag, and so that plays in my head. I appreciate the fact that everyone's worked together, the Geislers, and have worked with planning and zoning. And the planning and zoning and the commission didn't have the conditions when they made the decision they made. It came to the Board of Supervisors. We said we want to place conditions. It's allowable under the comprehensive plan to be able to really tighten that down. And to make any of those changes, to do an outdoor venue or an event, it's got to go before the Board of Adjustment for their approval. So there's a lot of conditions in this. And these conditions weren't just made because the family leader was going to buy the potential purchaser. These were conditions that we put on. It could have been anyone else coming in and saying, we want this to be rezoned so that we can do something different with it that falls outside of the area of ag. I personally have wrestled with this, as I said, but I feel comfortable that the conditions that we've placed and asked the Geislers to sign in as they can consider the sale, I'm comfortable with that. I think it will be good for the area. I believe it in my heart that it will be good for the area because we're protecting that property. We're protecting the agricultural area. And I repeat again, it's not up to the Board of Supervisors to say to the Geislers, no, we can't let you change the zoning because you're selling to this organization. We can change the zoning or not to help them be able to sell the property in this special use. And I'm sure there's many out there that don't agree with what I said, but believe me, I've wrestled with it a lot. I will support it.
Supervisor Conley, any comments?
I have a few comments. I really haven't, I appreciate the conditions that the staff has worked with the applicant on. I'm still and I have wrestled with it, but I really don't believe that it's really the land and the rezoning is following the real principles of the comprehensive plan. I mean, it really goes to my crawl that we've just, finished this 5 months ago, and we're already redoing the comprehensive plan. So I just think that I just can't get there on this rezoning. I just can't get there.
Thank you, Supervisor. Okay, with that, I think we've heard from everyone. We need to have a roll call and a second, or a motion and a roll call.
I'll move it, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call.
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
No.
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes. Okay. We move on to item 7, which is public comments on any other matter before the board. Any other matter that anyone would like to speak to this morning to the board? Sir.
Considering the last vote, I would just like to say I'm sorry. You didn't even bring up, there's 157 letters opposing this, but thank you for your time.
Okay, any other public comments on any other matter?
Alan Richards, 405 6th Avenue in Des Moines. And I come in a little bit late, but I'm a little bit confused. I know the board said that they were taking this additional public hearing on some land issue. And of course, my main concern is about the 50-year plan, so I trust the board, but I disagree that you would alter your rules.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other comments not related to this zoning matter or the things that are agenda or not on the agenda today? If not, we can move on to permits, Becky.
Number 8, ownership update on Class C beer, Class B wine permit for Quick Star, 5145 Northeast 14th. Number 9, renewal application for Class C retail alcohol license and outdoor service area permit for Terrace Hills Golf Course. Number 10, new application for Class B retail alcohol license and ownership update on Class C beer, Class B wine permit for Tobacco Outlet Plus Grocery, 4923 Merle Hay Road.
Roll call.
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
Yes.
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes. Petitions?
Number 11, petition to suspend taxes and special assessments for 1356 East 9th Street.
Roll call.
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
Yes.
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes. Move on to resolutions now, Becky.
Number 12, resolution authorizing Public Works to submit a FFY 2027 STBG program funding application to Des Moines Area MPO. Number 13, resolution approving agreement with RDG Planning and Design for technical assistance. Number 14, resolution authorizing Public Works to submit a funding application for 2023 raise funding for proposed Iowa 141 and relocated Towner Drive interchange project. Number 15, resolution approving weatherization contract with Iowa Department of Human Rights.
I'll move those resolutions collectively.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
Yes.
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 16, resolution authorizing the City of Des Moines the use of parking lot at River Place on May 13th. Number 17, resolution authorizing general services to hold public auctions in 2023 to dispose of surplus county property.
Move. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell? Yes. Conley?
Yes.
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 18, resolution reclassifying position in the General Services Department. Number 19, resolution creating position within Public Works.
Move those resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
Yes.
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 20, resolution approving deferred compensation 401A employer match plan document restatement and trust agreement. Number 21, resolution approving deferred compensation 457B employee contribution plan document restatement.
Move those resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 22, resolution approving Governor's Office of Drug Control Policy Anti-Heroin Task Force Grant.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 23, resolution approving agreement with Thomson Reuters for extension of agreement for electronic legal services. Number 24, resolution approving second amendment to the agreement for loan, lien, and repayment. Number 25, resolution releasing mortgage lien against property at 4720 Northeast 27th Court.
I'll move those collectively.
second,
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 26, resolution approving agreement with Emoca Mobile Health.
Move the resolution.
second,
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
27 through 30 are resolutions abating delinquent taxes and special weed assessments for properties at 2737 Hickman Road, 409 East Granger Avenue, 801 Shaw Street, and 2811 Payne Road.
Move those resolutions.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
31 and 32 are resolutions approving agreements with Fab Rehab for lead hazard repairs at 1129 Amos Avenue and 4114 27th Street.
Move. Second.
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
33 through 39 are resolutions abating property taxes for Caring Hands Outreach Center, Child Serve Habilitation Center, Meso Church of Iowa, New Beginnings Christian Church, Perfecting Holiness Temple, Ray of Hope International, and Wesley Life.
I'll move those resolutions collectively, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 40, resolution to obligate expenditures for Polk County general funds that were made available due to the Offsetting Lost Revenue American Rescue Plan Act.
Move.
second,
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
41, resolution approving escalator replacement at Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino.
Move the resolution.
second,
Discussion? Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes.
Number 42, resolution approving community development grant for Ellipsis.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
yes,
Van Ort?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes. Report, Becky?
Number 43, 5th Judicial District Annual Report, fiscal year 2022.
Receive and file. Communications?
Number 44, request for abatement of taxes on parcels for Life Serve Blood Center.
Refer the assessor, the treasurer, and county attorney.
Number 45, notice of appraisement of damages and time for appeal in the matter of the condemnation of certain rights and land for the Southeast Connector, Southeast 30th to US 65 project.
Refer the treasurer and the county attorney.
Number 46, City Development Board filing a written decision for voluntary annexation to the City of Alleman, including land without consent of owner and within urbanized area of Ankeny. Number 47, City Development Board filing a written decision for City of Altoona voluntary annexation, including non-consenting owners within urbanized area of Des Moines and Pleasant Hill. Number 48, City Development Notice of Hearing for City of Bondurant voluntary annexation, including non-consenting owners within urbanized area of Altoona and Mitchellville.
Refer to Public Works and the County Attorney. Any budget actions?
None.
Memorandum of appointments?
I'll move those.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy? Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Before we adjourn, Bob, do you have another item you want to bring
Yeah, I
up?
want to put something on the table. John and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about another annexation within the county. Some of these annexations are very well thought out, and they do a good job. Some are just there to block other communities, and I think we have one that's kind of that nature. I wanted to discuss with you and maybe in a strategy of what to do about it. John, do you want to take it from here?
Sure. Is Brett here? Oh, there he is. We want to draw attention to the proposed annexation of Granger, and I don't know if you'll pull that map up, Sarah. And some concerns similar to what we had handled with Alleman a few weeks ago, where Brett and I sent a letter to the City Development Board expressing concerns about provision of services and how this annexation looked. Some similar concerns here with, you can see the red line area is the proposed annexation from Granger. And then the double red area is what I understand Johnston took action last night to send a letter to Granger asking that they not go clear what looks like 5 miles east of Granger with their annexation, but that area remain independent, I guess, for lack of a better term, and that the Granger annexation be reduced to just the red areas to the west of that, the middle of that map there. Over concerns with infrastructure, servicing the area, and that, Brett, I think you worked on a letter or some proposed points, but our recommendation would be that we send a letter to the Granger. They have a city council meeting Thursday night, that they reconsider how extensive they're proposing they make this annexation at this time.
Yeah, I'd be happy to prepare a letter. I've had a conversation with John, a couple of emails back and forth, and we can put a letter together with the points that were brought up here, and a couple of others regarding, development and, the DOT, the studies and the DOT projects and some of that stuff that's going on as well that has an impact from this annexation as well.
There's a lot going on here, because the proposed new road's going to go up through, it's hard to point it out in the map here, but
Bob, could you come up for a second? The whole road issue, I think, is really relevant here. The proposal to remove the north-south road off of 141 that runs up to Jester, it's been extremely dangerous, that intersection. So the plan was to take that intersection out, wasn't it, initially?
Yeah, Bob Rice, Public Works, that's correct. We've had 2 studies along with Johnston and Grimes and the DOT, and that was, the DOT started talking about this years ago, that we were having a lot of accidents. It's a very dangerous intersection. It's right after the curve with Highway 415 where it joins 141. And the projected growth of 141 will probably, I think they projected the traffic in 2040 to have as much traffic that goes up I-35 through Ankeny right now. That's 3 times as much as Highway 163 down by Pleasant Hill. So that's a lot of traffic. So with the DOT, they want to close that intersection, period, end of story, and that's their prerogative. However, they work with the locals, which is, in this case right now, which is Polk County, and Johnston, although that intersection is all in Polk County and will remain so for some time. The issue was to close that. So we were trying to project where those people would progress north, what was the best option. Okay. And working off 415, putting in a new road, although it goes through some farmland, that was the best projection looking at what we could do with the traffic and the safest route, and made the most sense. There's also northwest 110th is right where there's another intersection that Camp Dodge is going to be utilizing, so that'll be able to be safe in the future by having probably signals there at some point or something. So That's the best route to put routing going north. Unfortunately, we didn't bring in Granger at that time. We didn't know that, what their plans were or anything like that. They were quite a ways around the corner, as you know, so we didn't bring them in on the plan. We didn't ask them at that time. The DOT didn't ask them. But, we've already had that planned. I already brought that upon the board. We already signed an agreement with the DOT to get that project rolling, to be let this year, to be built possibly in the next year or two. And now that's kind of all in flux because of this annexation.
To bear in mind, Johnston has invested about almost $3 million in running services into the kind of general area, not into that red hashed area that we're looking at. They're not asking it to annex any of that, but in the area, contemplating that within the next 10 years conceivably, or more, that could be an area that would be available for voluntary annexation. So they have invested a lot of money, and then at the 11th hour, here comes this annexation that basically blocks them. And they also had plans to, and have plans still, to put in a fire station / public safety station up there. They share a fire department with Grimes, and they would install that up there, and that's now in question. So there's some public safety issues that go along with this. It's not just because we like Johnston more than we like Granger. That's not it at all. That 121st Street line you see there, that's the east-west line. The drainage goes east from that point onward, goes west another point. So it does make sense for Granger to take on up to about 121st Street in that area, because the drainage would work back towards their facilities. It doesn't the other way. The other way, they'd have to install at least four pumping stations to serve the area, which is very expensive and probably wouldn't get served at all. So our proposal, or I guess my proposal, since it's my area, is to not endorse either party to annex that area, Johnson or Granger. Just leave it unincorporated for now, and we'll see how it develops. I think that's the best solution. I think none of the landowners want to be developed. They don't want to be part of any city. I say let's accommodate them and not make them part of a city.
Okay. Steve?
One quick question. You may have said it, but the hash marked area, voluntary or involuntary to Grimes?
All of the Granger proposed annexation is voluntary. Makes this a little bit unique.
Right.
And I think there's still some debate. I may disagree a little bit with the current design, which is to put a whole new road in through virgin farmland when you've got an existing road, less than a third of a mile away, that it might make more sense. But that's more a conversation with DOT, I believe, and where the eventual connector is from the turnoff of 141 up north to Jester Park.
We initially had that over there, John, and we were kind of outvoted between Johnston and the DOT at that point by making a straighter alignment. And, unfortunately, we're just one player in all this, so they kind of got the votes on that one.
It's one of those things that 10 years now, we're going, why the hell did we put that road there and not just use existing road? But I'm not winning that battle evidently so far.
Kind of crazy. So the property wanted, they only support the property owner, and that didn't do any good. So that's all I had, Tom.
This is just looks like a massive land grab. I mean, without the ability to provide, or the resource to provide municipal type services. What I really don't want to see happen is to get into, and I don't think our ordinance would allow, but at the suburban estate subdivision type process, we got a bunch of septic tanks out there on 2-lane blacktop roads. And so anyway, but that's a whole other discussion I guess we can have. Okay?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, there's been a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call?
McCoy?
Yes.
Brownell?
Yes.
Conley?
Yes.
Danor?
Yes.
Hawkinsmith?
Yes. We have budget coming up now, folks. I think it's starting right now.